Welcome back, everybody. My name is Tony, and this is Hard4Games. Once again, we are talking about a Zelda mod for the Nintendo 64 disk drive. It is Zelda Dawn and Dusk. Let's get started.
This is Hard4Games. They're Hard4Games. They become hard. They're Hard4Games.
So today I want to talk about version 2.0, which is an update to the version that I played, which was, as you might guess, version 1.0. So some of you out there have played version 1.0, probably most of you by now have played version 2.0, but I wanted to cover what the differences are and also clear up some misconceptions regarding the project. Now, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, what Zelda Dawn and Dusk is, it is time to watch the first video where I cover what the project is, the history of it, and also how it runs on the Nintendo 64 disk drive peripheral. I'm going to go ahead and put a link in the description and also in a card above, so watch that first and then come back to this. Now, if you haven't played it, I will be covering game details as well as the final boss in this video, so just a generalized spoiler warning for all of you. And if you have no interest in playing it, that's fine too, because this video will still function as a nice little explanation as to how developers make little quality of life tweaks and changes in their projects. So first off, let's go ahead and talk about those misconceptions regarding the project. This project was created from the get-go with the 64 disk drive in mind. It was made to be a sort of proof of concept that this could be done, that we could actually utilize real hardware, create a mod, put it on a disc, play it on the DD peripheral for the 64. Now, you can obviously play it on emulator, either as a regular ROM or using the DD functionality on the version of Project 64 that's on the LuigiBlood site, link in the description, but this was a 64DD project from the start. Secondly, LuigiBlood wanted to clarify that he did not develop or design this game. He was responsible for the idea of doing a game that could be brought to the 64 disk drive, to have the 64 disk drive in mind from the beginning, but it was Captain Seedy-Eye who actually developed the game. So if you want to think of it in terms of like film terminology, LuigiBlood was like the producer or executive producer, and Captain Seedy-Eye was the director. Let's go ahead and get into the differences here. Now, there are a number of little changes all over the place that I'm not going to get into. I just want to focus on the bigger ones. But some of those little ones are that there is better collision detection here and there, and also they added some things that play a little bit better with emulators. So first off, rest in peace, heart piece glitch. If you remember from the first episode, you could re-enter this room over and over and over and over again and get as many hearts as you wanted. But now it's just one. They fixed the glitch. It's gone. And there's no more light left in my life. In this brush over here, there is a secret grotto. I randomly found it before, stumbled into it, but this time they added a little hint, which are these butterflies. Next up, in the secret grotto behind the giant plant, of which I cannot remember the enemy's name. Tell me in the comments below what that enemy is called. I don't remember. Let's call it a piranha plant from Mario and just piss everybody off. But anyways, they've upgraded the treasure in the grotto to a red rupee to make it a little bit more worthwhile. Sweeten the pot a little bit. Okay, so now here are some of the bigger changes. In the Red Ice Cavern, there's a sequence that I complained about due to its difficulty. This area has been modified. So before you would duck, backflip, avoid the lasers, hit the switch, climb up, melt the ice, hope you have the flame, switch to first person mode, and try to wait for the platform to come by to land on it. And it's not immediately apparent that this was a bottomless pit either. So, many deaths occurred. In fact, many deaths occurred along the entire way. Version 2.0 has a few adjustments to this. So when you go up and melt the ice, the platform actually waits for you a bit, making it a little bit easier. Also, the camera auto-adjusts above you, so you sort of automatically, as the player, look down, which is a great idea on emulator, but unfortunately doesn't really translate to real hardware. On emulator, everything's way more crisp and visible. You know, for me, even though I was, capturing RGB footage that I was line doubling from 240p to 480p, it was just real hard to see down that hole, especially from that distance that the camera makes you look. And you're looking into sort of a dark pit, which is just very sort of murky on real hardware, so it's very hard to see what was going on from the camera position that it put you at. In fact, I actually tried to go back to first-person perspective, which I had complained about before, and because of the camera position, because it sort of autos to that position, would not allow me to switch to first-person perspective. So I kind of shot myself in the foot for complaining about that, and it actually made it worse for me, but better for all of you. Sort of a me problem, not a you problem, since I'm real hardware and you're playing it on a crisp, clean Project 64 emulation. Also, I think the platform waits for you, but only on the first run before you melt the ice, right? So if you die after you melt the ice stays melted. And when I was going back up to that hole, it seemed like I was racing the platform every single time. It didn't seem like it was waiting for me at all. So either I just suck and can't navigate those hallways, or something, I don't know. Missed my opportunity the first time around, but basically I died as many times as I did on 1.0. However, like I said, you won't die as many times as you did on 1.0 because I think it'll just make more sense for you. So the last big change is the end boss. Now, before I show it, I do want to say that I didn't feel like dealing with this stealth segment one more time because I'd already done it on version 1.0 and nothing was different here. So I kind of threw a Hail Mary pass to save some time. I booted up my version 1.0 save on my version 2.0 disk, assuming it would work, and it did. So I have way too many hearts here. More hearts than you can get in version 2.0 because I used the heart glitch to just spam hearts. And as a final goodbye to the heart glitch, the hotel heart piece populated one more time for me. I captured it, left the room, and returned, and it was gone. Good night, sweet prince. So anyways, here's the final boss. I actually cut out the segment where I talked about the final boss in my previous video, so here is the footage from that. So as you can see, this space is very tight. The camera is behind you, and the area around the middle of the arena is very small, requiring you to constantly hop down and climb back up, all while visibility is very, very low here. And what makes matters worse is that you have a limited amount of time to attack the boss, and as the battle progresses, he'll pop up for less time and shoot back down. So it's like you just get frustrated, maybe he's way over there, and you have to climb up. By the time you're climbed up and you pull out your hammer, he's gone. Not to mention the tight placement of these pots mean that if you aren't 100% prepared to catch these fairies, i.e. you have to know that there are fairies in there, they'll just fly off into the local geometry and just never come back, and you'll just be kicking yourself. So again, memorization, you have to know what's going on sort of in advance here. So here's version 2.0. Notice how much more open it is. The camera also automatically swings outward, letting you see the entirety of the playing field, which is just so helpful. Also notice the ring around the center, it's wider. You can walk from area to area instead of having to waste time hopping down and tediously climbing back up. You still need to be quick on your feet here, but in the previous version, the boss was challenging for some of the wrong reasons. This fixes that. Oh, and the pots have also been placed away from the wall, so the fairy doesn't just fly into the local geometry and disappear forever. You actually have an opportunity to capture and utilize the fairy here. So those are the big changes. One last thing I'll mention is that there actually is a glitch in the Great Dusk Chasm that basically causes the world to disappear. And this happened on my first playthrough. It's also possible to see this on emulator. But on version 2.0, they added a couple more precautions to make it harder to replicate this glitch. Still possible to do, but chances are you won't see it. So that is our episode for today. Big thank you to everyone that was involved with this project. Normally, I don't really replay games very often, but this was actually really fun to replay again. I had a good time, with the exception of the stealth segment that I kind of just didn't feel like. But aside from that, it was a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to version 3.0 in the future. So, thank you again, everybody. Check the links below if you want to play it. Little preview coming up. We actually have a pre-release version of Wind Waker with differences between this version and the final. So stay tuned to the channel if you want to see that. Aside from that, thank you for subbing. Thank you for ringing that bell. Thank you for joining us on Patreon, all that good stuff. And we'll see you all next time.